Hello and welcome to the BSB 40320 Certificate for in Entrepreneurship and New Business Student Information Session. With me today, I have Chief Academic Officer Iona McKinney. Iona, welcome.
Thank you, James. Looking forward to speaking with everybody today about our new course, the Certificate for in Entrepreneurship and New Business.
Look, it's a really exciting course. The uptake that we've had so far has been exemplary, and I think what we're going to cover today is going to be really pertinent, particularly for those who are certainly looking at moving into the entrepreneurship field, starting their new business, or it might even be that they're in an existing business, head of a department, whatever it may be. So, great course, great content. Let's jump right into it. And I'll hand on over to you to give us a little bit of information on the background of the course and perhaps some of the key competencies that it delivers.
Thanks, James. So the course is delivered over 12 months. And the course touches on a range of things that we do when we're looking at new business opportunities or we're developing our own new business opportunity. And we know that new businesses quite often fail because when we start new businesses, we didn't really know enough about a certain number of things, like how to how to manage finances and what an accounting system is. Marketing. Without clients, of course, no business can exist. Or take up of our services. So marketing is very important, and social media has become more over time. You know, Facebook, Instagram, Reddit, TikTok. They're all platforms, as well as Twitter, that are being used to promote business. So we touch on marketing and social media. We also look at business planning and how to create a proposal. We often create proposals for new clients, for example. So we need to, as we start our new business, we need to look at how to do all of these things. So we look at risk management as well, overall business planning. Communication is a key part of any business, but especially in the early days of our business, how we communicate about our new business, our new ideas, our new product, and how we take that out into the marketplace via our marketing. As I said, the course really covers all of those things that we think about when we're starting a new business, or when we're supporting somebody to start a new business, or when we're working in a new business environment.
Yeah, look, and it's interesting that you mentioned that. I mean, there's a really disproportionate amount of small businesses that start and don't really make it past the first year. And arguably, a lot of that's got to do with the planning that's in place, the administration, and of course, as you made mention, that effective marketing and being able to generate clients and do that sustainably and continually over a long period of time. I think what's really exciting as well is particularly that emphasis on that social media element. And we know that if done effectively, it can be a really cost-effective way of acquiring new clients, particularly in a digital marketing environment, as opposed to perhaps your conventional digital marketing strategies through Google AdWords or whatever it may be. And if you do have a new idea, particularly that's constructed around the idea of content, social media and marketing channels like that are a really good way to get your message out there, establish yourself, or certainly your business as a bit of a thought leader in that space, and then subsequently continue to attract new business over a period of time. So not only does it have the marketing benefits, but it also has the trust and establishment benefits when it comes to building that business. And then, of course, in the background, getting around finances and accounting, risk management and planning like that, which is just as crucial, is all built into it. So that's really good. Now, the units themselves, let's have a look at those and how they actually go about delivering the competencies which we just talked about.
So and as we've been talking about, this course is really geared to provide our students that are working in those different areas or in those different contexts that we've mentioned. So even working as a business analyst, or starting your own new business, maybe you've purchased a business or a franchise, and you're wanting to learn more about how to actually operate your new business. So we look at a whole range of different things in this course. So we look at investigating business opportunities, because speaking to potential clients is all about how we build and how we build our new business, also promoting our services. We look at, as we've mentioned, the importance of social media and how we develop and actually activate a social media strategy for our new business. Setting up and operating our accounting system, because as a new business operator or somebody who's working with a new business, we'll need to do things like generate our business activity statement. We'll need to report for GST. We'll need to also maybe run a payroll, but we also have to keep our business financial records. So, excuse me, that leads into planning finances for new business ventures, which is all about creating proposals. And it's all about how we create budgets as well for those new proposals to ensure as much as we possibly can that our new initiative, our new idea, or the client that we're working with is successful. Then we look at marketing, and marketing is key with any in any context with a new business. We also look at business planning. So as we develop a new business, there's a number of sources of support and funding out there for new businesses that people with new ideas are able to hook into. But one of the things that we need that is core to our new business is that business plan. And our business plan contains everything about our business. So it's all about our market, it's all about our marketing plan, it's about our competitor analysis, it's about budgets, it's about the overall business itself. So, excuse me, we also look at developing a business plan, and a very comprehensive business plan that we're able to then present to anybody, or even with a new business, if we're applying for startup funds from a bank, they will ask for our business plan. So we really focus on business planning as well. So investigating business opportunities and using emotional intelligence are two key things that we need to do as new business operators. It's how we manage our business and how we develop our professionalism in a business context, or we support the person that we're working with, maybe as a consultant or an analyst, to actually develop those interpretive skills and those communication skills as well. So the course itself really attempts to support students who are either, as we mentioned, starting a new business, intending on starting a new business, or they're working with others or in a new business to develop those key areas of skill and knowledge to be able to support the potential success of a new business venture. At Mentor Education, we've been working with students for a long time now, just on 18 years, in different business sectors. And the inclusions in this course and the areas in this course that we've introduced for study are those key areas that we're often asked for more information about, or an additional course about from students of Mentor Education. So if you're, for example, looking at becoming a mortgage broker, looking at operating an accounting or a bookkeeping organisation, or any other franchise or new business idea, this is an ideal course for you.
Excellent. And probably, look, just on saying that, of course, there is an opportunity to include this particular course with, as an example, the FNS 40217, which is a certificate for in accounting and bookkeeping, because we did have quite a number of candidates and students coming through who were looking at establishing their competencies and skills in the accounting and bookkeeping space, and then subsequently creating their own business or consultancy. So then by pairing the FNS 40217, which is, of course, the accounting and bookkeeping course, with the certificate for an entrepreneurship and new business, they got this full scope of skills and competencies that allow them to specialise in that one particular area, and then also on the other side, get that real kind of business acumen where it comes, and the requirements and the understanding that goes with setting up your new business. So I think that's why it's a really good course. And then getting onto the way in which it's delivered. So we've got 4 core units and 6 electives. Now, I know it says electives, but you still do have to do them, but they've been chosen for the specific reasons, as Iona said earlier on, certainly in response to what's required for the qualification, but also the feedback that we've got from students and industry as a whole as to what skills are required in the space at this point in time. Now, when I say they're delivered sequentially, that of course means that they're delivered one after the other after the other. So, and if you kind of look at the units themselves, research and develop business plans. So we're starting, from day one with this idea of building your business plan. And then from that point on, you continue to build on the skills and competencies and knowledge that you've learned in preceding units, so that by the end, you've got a really nice holistic idea as to all the requirements that are attached, of course, to taking it on a entrepreneurship initiative, or of course, starting or working within a new business. Now, we've talked a lot about, of course, the entrepreneurship side, but there is, of course, that employee side as well. So it might be that you are working in a new business, or perhaps even working in a new division, or taking your first step into the small, medium size, or could even be startup industry. So we've got some information up there that's, of course, reported on some of the applications with this particular course. And some of the industries, of course, include food processing, sales, small business, business administration, asset maintenance, and that's just a few. So really, there's a whole myriad of industries that this could apply to. Then if we would look at specific occupations, perhaps outside of being, say, a founder of a CEO, or of course the director, or whatever it may be, there's things such as a small business manager, in any of those industries that we mentioned before, plus possibly more. Consultancy for small businesses, franchisees, and as we said earlier, the owner-operator. And as reported, say, from myskills.gov.au, we've also got some student outcomes for those who take on Certificate 4 qualifications in the business field. And the average salary for those moving into that space, particularly in that first year out, is $52,000, which is really just the beginning, but I think demonstrates that there is a need for these skill sets out in industry. And we know, particularly here in Australia, the emphasis and support for small business operators is really immense. And very much our country, our economy, our GDP is built on the contribution of small businesses towards what is the greater picture of the Australian economy, and of course, services and products that we offer. Now, how's it all brought to life, Iona, through the learning materials?
The learning materials contain many, many, many different things in the Certificate 3. The Certificate 4 in Entrepreneurship and New Business. So students have access to full textbooks. They also have learner guides, presentations, lots of video, and they're also able to come together in tutorials from the next study period, which begins in October. So there's a wide range of learning materials. The other really great thing that we've included in the learning materials is access to a simulated business for students in this course. So students are able to have limited experience with new business or new business ideas or building a business. They're able to actually access a simulated business, which provides examples of policies and procedures, forms, a whole range of things that we would actually develop. The other thing that's made available is the software for set up an accounting system. So that's made available to students at no cost. And of course, there is no additional materials for students to purchase in any of the courses here at Mentor Education. All the learning materials are provided.
Excellent. Look, what I really love about the simulated business, and certainly the access to the accounting software and setting that all up yourself, is that it's a really sort of hands-on experience. So it's really quite tactile. I know it's an information-based course, and of course, it's focused there on business. So being able to get in there and work with a simulated business and exposure to, what are based, of course, on, real-world policies, real-world business cases, that kind of stuff, and put what it is that you're learning in the course material into action, gives you that, I think, that really deeper understanding of how it applies. I mean, it's all good and well to kind of know it, but to know it and apply it is something else. And being able to do that, of course, with access to the simulated business and then the accounting software, which you mentioned is all included, is really, really good. And I think once you've kind of practiced with something a few times as well, it really begins to sink in, and then you've got that confidence to either A, take it into your own business, or B, take it into somebody else's business. And, we often talk about this idea of being, job ready based on qualifications or skills or whatever it is that you've done. But, having exposure to these kind of learning materials really does set you up for success, when using that idea of being job ready. And probably as an extension of that, and this idea of practicing, and I think the term I like to use is showing off the skills and competencies that you've picked up throughout the course, is the assessment functions in the qualification. Now, of course, we do need to complete the assessments to get our qualification. And in thinking about that, it can be a little bit daunting, but it's really not, is it?
No, it's not. Here at Mentor Education, we consider assessment to be just a natural extension of what students have been learning and practicing. So throughout each unit of competency, as students learn and practice, they'll be developing the skills and the knowledge that they'll need to complete the assessments. So we really encourage all of our students to undertake the self-directed learning activities because they provide an opportunity to practice the types of tasks or the requirements for the assessment tasks. So in this course, assessments are made up of a mix of things, and they're different in some units than others. So, for example, an assessment may be made up of some short answer questions, which require answers of between 50 and 150 words for each question, and project tasks. So students may develop a policy, they may create a flow chart, they may actually create a proposal for a client. They may create some communication templates, for example. So, excuse me, please. There's also some multiple choice questions in some assessments, case studies and scenarios where we ask students to tell us what they do in a particular situation in the workplace. So all of the assessments require students to undertake a task, as do the self-directed learning activities that prepare the students for the assessment. And of course, the capstone unit in this course is the business plan unit, where students bring everything that they've learned in all of the other units and all of the skill and the knowledge that they've developed, and they develop a comprehensive business plan.
And that, of course, is based on our simulated business, but we could very much take that as a template and then apply it to a new venture that we're perhaps looking at launching or whatever it may be.
Well, James, students are able to actually use their own business idea throughout the course to complete the activities and maybe learn from the business simulation and provide that as additional information, if they like, to develop their own business plan and their own ideas, to develop their own company in the accounting software and their own marketing. So students are actually able to utilise this course to develop their own business idea, or they're able to utilise the business simulation.
So I think that's great. Not only is there an opportunity to pick up a nationally recognised qualification, but really in many senses, it can guide you through many of the key steps that are required to, of course, start your own business. So you could kind of do the two things concurrently, really two birds, one stone, as they say. So I think that's really great.
Well, we find that students in particular, we were talking just before about accounting and bookkeeping and students that choose to take up the dual course there. But we also find that some students, for example, are starting their own mortgage broking business or their own franchise or something like that. So throughout the course, students are able to utilise their own idea, even if it's a new idea. But the business simulation is there as a backup, providing examples as well for students to be able to complete tasks. Because sometimes we just we start a course because we have an idea in our head, but we want to know how to make that idea successful. So we provide both options for students.
Excellent. Now, what I thought I'd do is just jump into the online learning experience and identify some of the key requirements, of course, to access the course and the assessments and everything that goes with it. So you're going to want to have access to a laptop or desktop computer, in addition to a reasonable and strong internet connection. Now, the reason you need all of these things is so that you can access the learning portal, which we refer to as the learning management system. Now, the learning management system, really in simple terms, is a website that you access through your browser, and that could be your Chrome, your Firefox, your Mac equivalent, whatever it may be that you decide to use. And inside there, you'll log in with your unique username and password, and you'll have access to anything and everything you need, from the learning materials to the assessment tasks, all of that kind of stuff. Now, when it comes to completing the assessments, you email those into us directly. But when it comes to accessing the learning materials, one of the great things about having it online and of course supported through the browser function is that if you'd like to access your reading or perhaps some of those other learning materials that come by way of presentations or multimedia by way of say podcasts or videos, you can do that on your phone or your smart device. So it might be that you choose to do your reading in bed or in transit or whatever it may be. So you kind of have that flexibility of access, but certainly when it comes to completing your assessments, you're going to want to have access to something like a laptop or computer. Otherwise, it becomes a little bit difficult, I imagine, to kind of type anything and everything you need up on your phone there. Now, the course itself is delivered over a 12-month period of time, and there's plenty of support throughout, really from day one. So the first element of support that you're going to get access to is through the education advice team. Now, they'll speak to you about what it is that you're currently doing, where it is that you'd like to go, and then using that information, identify what's going to be the most appropriate education solution for you. And in this case, it could very well be the Certificate for in Entrepreneurship and New Business. They'll also assist you with any queries that you have, perhaps about the enrolment function, fees, access to payment plans, whatever it may be. The next element of support or tier of support you'll have access to is the Student Support Officer team. So when it comes to troubleshooting access to your learning management system, resetting passwords, getting course extensions, any of those kind of things, they're there, of course, the whole time to support you. And that's made available between 9 and 5 on the phone, Monday to Friday, Melbourne and Sydney time, and of course via email 24 hours a day. And then arguably probably the most important tier of support you're going to have access to is the education team. Now, they're there to, of course, clarify any questions you have about the course content, clarify or troubleshoot any issues you might be having with the assessments. Now, that support function, of course, is available during business hours, 9 to 5, but then there's also additional support available by way of one-on-one that's included. And I thought what I'd do, Iona, as our Chief Academic Officer, is hand on over to you and talk to us about what these support functions, particularly the one-on-one and that education component looks like from a student perspective.
Thanks, James. So students are able to access, as you've been talking about, a really comprehensive and very, very supportive environment here, learning environment here at Minter Education. Our education team are also available for students for additional support and additional tutoring if students believe that they would benefit from that. So students are able to book a time with the educators and trainers for the course that they're studying, and commonly that is, in half-hour or hour blocks. So students are able to explore things that are challenging them in the course, or ask for some advice, or even even make arrangements for alternative assessments and things like that. So there's a wide range of support. Students are also as they come into the courses, able to book a time with our student support team, who can orientate students on using the learning management system, but also little things like how to submit assessment tasks in the learning management system. We understand that a new study environment or new environments at times can be challenging. We all experience those challenges in new environments and when we start studying. So as much as possible, we make those supports available to all of our students, and that can happen at any time throughout a course, not just that students are studying, not just at the beginning of the course. As you mentioned, we also make available course extensions, the opportunity for resubmission or remarking, as well as the one-on-one support sessions. But above all, we encourage our students to just tell us what's going on. Shout out. We can't support our students to complete their studies and to feel confident in their learning environment if they don't reach out to us. So please, at any time, reach out to us and make a request. Just let us know, because we understand also that sometimes life happens and we need to make adjustments to what we're doing. So as it says here on the screen, you're able to contact us between 9 and 5, and excuse me, or email support is also available.
Good one. Now, I've put together a series of questions that we often get asked by students. And the first one that often comes across our desks, as it were, is can I get government funding? And the short answer to that is no. So all of our courses are self-funded, but they're priced in such a way that they're designed to be really, really accessible for students. As you mentioned earlier, we've been delivering online education in the financial services, business, accounting, project management space for almost 18 years now. And it's something that we really, I think, focus on doing is making our courses accessible, not just obviously through the support functions that we offer, but also through the pricing and things like that. Now, in the event that the enrolment fee upfront is perhaps too much at the beginning, there of course are payment plans and options available for you to take advantage of as well. And what all you need to do is speak to the education advice team, and of course they can explain more about that and manage that process for you. With respect to starting, you can start just about any time. So it's a self-paced course over a 12-month period. Of course, delivered sequentially as we made earlier on, but arguably if you can get your enrolment into us within that day, you'll be up and running with your course within around about 24 hours. More often than not less, but we like to say 24-hour time frame. Yes, it's all included. So anything and everything you need, from the software to the learning materials to the assessments. And as Iona said as well, it might be that you need to extend your course. And the term that we often use is life happens. We've been delivering online education with a whole range of students. So those who are full-time students, those who are working full-time, those who are looking after their household full-time, whatever it may be. So fitting in study, particularly these days, can be a bit of a challenge. And sometimes life happens. So if you do need to put your course on hold and require an extension for a month or two, no dramas, let us know. Of course, that's all included, as are resubmissions and whatever it may be. The course is nationally recognised in all states and territories around Australia. There are no prerequisites to the course, but we do ask that you have reasonable literacy and numeracy skills before taking on this qualification. But again, if you've got any questions about that or you're unsure, speak to the education advice team. They're there to help you with anything like that. And of course, there's plenty of support functions, even when it comes to those kind of basic requirements as well, that can assist you, certainly in the early days or throughout the course, should you have any challenges. And that's what we're all about. And how long do people take to finish? 12 months is the time frame that you'd like to have in your mind. Admittedly, if you could dedicate more time each week, you may finish it a little bit quicker, or again, if you need an extension, it may take a little bit longer. So really, 12 months is the time frame that you want to have in your mind. Now, as we made mention, we've been doing this for a long time. We're very committed to our students and to our student base. We're very proud of what it is that they achieve, and I think that's kind of what drives us very much. Look, I think taking on the education is quite rewarding, but also seeing what they achieve on the other side. And then in response to what they achieve on the other side, we get student outcomes and feedback. Now, we've got some numbers up there in front of us that were reported not by us, but by an independent body. And I think I'd best hand on over you to talk to about what they talk to us about what they mean.
Thanks, James. So each year, the National Centre for Vocational Education and Research undertakes a national survey of all students in Australia. The result. So what we see here on the screen is the result of the Student Outcomes Survey by the National Centre for Vocational Education and Research in 2020. So very proudly, our graduates have achieved many things, and so we just thought we'd share some of those things with everybody today. So 92% of mentor education graduates are employed, or they continue on to further study after training. 91.6% of students are satisfied with the overall quality of their training. And 90.2% of students are satisfied with their assessment, which is a very, very important thing when we're considering what course to study. And 86.5% of students would recommend Mentor as a training provider. So our commitment to our students and our students' goals and aspirations is really exemplified in the results of the 2020 Student Outcomes Survey by NCVER.
And look, I think probably another point to make mention of there is, where we say 92% of graduates were employed or enrolled in further study after training. Now, should you choose The Certificate 4 in Entrepreneurship and New Business really could be just the very beginning of what becomes your academic pathway that may very well accompany you throughout your professional career. And we have students, of course, who start with the Certificate 4 and then move on to perhaps a diploma level qualification and that could be in business, it could be in leadership and management. Of course, there's options in the School of Accounting there as well, onto advanced diploma in, again, business leadership or even IT is an option. And then even further down the line to postgraduate, to things like graduate diplomas in strategic leadership, which I think is really exciting. And knowing that there is that academic support and educational support that can really closely align with what it is that you're doing in your day-to-day work or your day-to-day professional career, and knowing that you are in a position where you're continually developing your skills, knowledge and competencies so that you stay abreast as to what's happening out there in the market, and we know that, and certainly in the new business and entrepreneurship field, how quickly things can change. So being able to respond to those changes, of course, is going to keep you commercially viable over the long term. And there can be some real benefits to continuing to update and maintain your skills and knowledge throughout that period of time. And it could be a term, again, which we come across these days is this idea of lifelong learning. And again, so if you've got any questions about that, speak to the Education Advice team. They can, of course, help you map out a full academic pathway if that's something that you're interested in doing as well. Now, more information about the course, head on over to mentor.edu.au. There you can download a course guide and you'll get access to all of the information that we've talked about today, plus more. If you'd like to get in contact with the Education Advice team directly, you can email them. So that's courseconsultant@mentor.edu.au, or pick up the phone on 1300 306 146 and you'll get directed straight through to them. So just explain what your inquiry is about. And if none of those options work, on the website, we've got a live chat function, instant messaging function, which is looked after by Education Advice team here in Melbourne. That's Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, so you can actually chat in live real time with them as well. So if that's your preferred option, of course, take advantage of that. Iona, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you, James. Been great talking about our new course, the Certificate 4 in Entrepreneurship and New Business.
And thank you to everybody who's tuned in today. We look forward to seeing you students very soon. And as always, take an opportunity to excite your potential and we'll catch you next time. See you, everybody.
Bye, everyone.